topic. So thank you guys for plugging in with that. When we are defining our success as entrepreneurs and innovators, I am entering the entrepreneur and innovation space on my own about 2.5, 3 years ago, after coming out of a very corporate role and many corporate roles. And for me, defining success as an individual, as an entrepreneur, and as an innovator looks and feels very different than the innovation and the why behind what I did corporately. So I want to plant that seed for you for the next 30 minutes as you digest and go deeper within to really hone in on what your why is and what success looks like for you in this day and age, especially after the 2.5-year pause that COVID has provided us. How are we looking at success when it comes to our work and our lives, actually? Is that different than how we viewed success 2.5, 3 years ago? And as an entrepreneur and an innovator, I find that my definition of success looks and feels even different. So let's start this timely topic by having you reflect on what is your definition of success. So I want to invite us to spend less than 1 minute taking 5 deep breaths. And as we're taking those deep breaths, I want you to be thinking about, what does success look like for you? So that can be your foundation for today's timely topic. So let's go ahead and lower our eyes and take 5 deep inhales and exhales and contemplate, what is our definition of success? Two more breaths of contemplation. And as you come out of coming into this present moment and centering yourself on what success looks like for you, either take out something to write on and jot down what came up for you. If you don't have anything to write on, maybe you can type it in the chat, or you can put it in your iPhone in your notes section. But what came up for you when it came to defining your success? And as you reflect on those things that bubbled up from inside of you when you took a pause and took some deep breaths and got yourself centered in the here and the now, are they things that are associated or tied with your why? Are you even particularly connected to your unique why? And so when we move forward from this conversation, I'd love you to be able to access what you downloaded today and contemplate, is my vision for success in alignment with who I am and why I am? And if that is not in alignment, there is your first step in moving forward in your innovation and your entrepreneurship. And that is to take a moment now, this week, this month, this year, to really dive deeper into who you are and why you are. Because as a solopreneur, after spending 30 years in corporate America, I found it really interesting. I was going to say challenging, and it was definitely challenging. But it more importantly was interesting to me to get to know who I am and what it is that I believe in and why I'm here as a unique individual, and how that tied to my business success. because success shifted for me when I was in corporate America. It was a lot easier and clearer for me to articulate success when I was supporting an organization. But the challenge as a solopreneur was for me to step into my understanding of who I was, why I was, and what my unique offering was that tied to what success could look like for me as a solopreneur, especially as a very disruptive, innovative solopreneur. So first step, know who you are, know why you are, and then you can identify, is that showing up for you in your business? So that's step one. And if you haven't already identified that purpose, I'm happy to connect with you offline and hold some space for you so you can get that purpose down, most importantly. The second step in understanding what does success look like for you were the things that came up for you, things that are very tangible oriented. Are they very of this world material? Numerological? Are they ROI based? What is your definition of success? And I found it challenging when I was building my business model. I wasn't inspired to say, and I know it's important, but it didn't inspire me to say as a new author, for example, how many books I want to sell. Because my answer was, I want to write a book that is on point with my purpose, my unique divine purpose. And then how many books I wanted to sell was based on how many people that was actually going to help. It wasn't based on a number that was going to bring me X amount of dollars so I could buy X amount of things. That for me is just not this innate purpose-driven why behind my definition of success. Mine was, am I writing a book that I feel good about? Am I writing a book that is a true expression of who I am and why I am? And then will that resonate for others because I'm clear on who I am and why I am, and I'm comfortable with who I am and why I am? I think that is so important as an entrepreneur. The systems that we've had, all that has been built, right, already exists, and for a lot of us is not really working very well. And my first step into being an entrepreneur was as an author, and it was my storytelling of how the traditional model of healthcare, in my case, was not working to bring me success when it came to my health. So I had to get very clear in my understanding of what did success look like for me when it came to health and well-being. And it was contradictory to how traditional medicine approaches things. So that was a little scary and made me very uncomfortable because I worked for a big healthcare system and I was paid a lot of money to lead their division on health and wellness. But my experience of how to be well and how to thrive with your health was not in alignment with traditional medicine. Not to dish traditional medicine, there is a role for that, and there are times where we need it, but I was really gaining clarity within my own journey, finding it within myself that it was my mind-body connection that was off, and it was causing a ton of stress, and it was making me sick. And that wasn't something I was learning in traditional healthcare. So why am I sharing that with you? Because the definition of success for me was not how many books do I want to sell. The definition of success for me was understanding my journey, what it was that was unique about me, what I thought, what I had to say, and then how did I present that to the world. That became my business model. I promise you I've sold way more books than I anticipated than if my definition of success was a number for book selling. I would love in the chat, or I'd love to hear back from you if that resonates or if you have any questions about that. But that was my first step of understanding how success can equate in my business. And that was putting out a product that I was really proud of, that really represented what I believed in. So as you reflect on what you denoted for your version of success for your business, does that include really powerful, clear articulation of who you are, why you are, and how that's showing up in your business? I want to add to this space a challenge as an entrepreneur that I have found, and I find it with other entrepreneurs, and it is in alignment with finding out who you are, looking inside, and defining your success. When you are so deeply immersed in your knowing of your work and your passion for your work and your understanding of your unique offering as an entrepreneur, I found it really challenging to connect with other because it was difficult for me to articulate all that I was thinking because I'm so immersed in my bubble. So for the beginning, my beginning success or lack thereof as an entrepreneur, as I reflected and I thought about what I wanted to share with you guys, is based on, as I look back and I'm like, I wasn't clear in my articulation in my business model because I was so deeply immersed in it. And I don't know.
Hi, I think I may have missed a call. I'm at 110 Birchwood Drive, Fairfield.
So anywho, with that being said, in your definition of success, the clarity of your conveyance, the clarity of your message, the clarity of the problem you are solving is something that I would suggest you get really, really clear on. And I had a lot of people that held space for me that tried to help me understand, well, what problem are you solving, Kristen? And I'm like, oh my gosh, I solve so many problems. I help you with your health, your wealth, your happiness, your relationships. I mean, I solve a whole bunch of stuff. So I really couldn't articulate what it was that my business did. So then how was I going to measure any success and attract business if I couldn't really articulate it? It took me a bit of time to create my clarity because it was just something I was so immersed in. So as you're reflecting on your definition of success, are you clear when you are conveying who you are and why you are and what you do? And if the answer is or not at all, I highly suggest not only do you sit with yourself and contemplate that, because your answer is going to be within you and it's going to look a little bit different or really different from others, but then also to use opportunities within your cohort, within the school, online, to get it outside of yourself and chew on it and digest it and play, I don't know, tennis with it and go back and forth and have other people hold space for you so you can get your thoughts on success and your thoughts on your offering outside of you. Because if we just sit within our own brilliant heads with our ideas, for me, it got very convoluted and it was really hard to articulate clearly what my message was and what I was trying to accomplish. And that took me quite a bit of time. So my definition of success now is based on, am I clearly conveying my offering? Am I clearly conveying my thoughts? Am I clearly conveying my journey? And if I'm not, I can go ahead and tweak my messaging or tweak my offerings. And that has sized my business model, not based on, again, a measurement that I put out there randomly. It's actually far exceeded any number I would have put out with the amount of outreach and people that are plugging in, and they're complete strangers. But it's because I got clear. I don't know if that resonates or makes sense, but I thought that was just really powerful of a definition of success. And the third thing I want to add to this space, and that I'd love to open up to questions or guidance on conversation that I can have with you guys, is especially for folks who are newer to this space. And I applaud some of the younger generations who are looking at what does success look like differently. Unfortunately, my definition of success took about 30 years to shift. And I was more of a traditional cultural experiment when it came to success. And that was, what car did I have? What was my salary? What shoes was I purchasing? There was a lot of this world, work hard, play hard type of success that I engaged in for a long time. And it was through ill health and really kind of accomplishing a lot of that stuff. I was very blessed and had a lot of things that you could check off traditionally, especially here in the US, as success, only to find myself not satiated and not full of joy, and still knowing that I was missing something. So is your definition of success inclusive of what brings you joy? And if your definition of success that equates to joy is only based on material of this world type things, I would recommend taking a second look in those deep breaths and finding what stirs you, what makes your heart palpitate, what makes you smile, what makes you laugh. Because all the zeros in the bank account and all the material, beautiful things and all the magic in partnerships, in love relationships are fabulous, but they're never, ever, ever going to bring you to true success. And my definition of true success is knowing who I am, really being comfortable with who I am and loving that person and showing up every day, and being present in that moment and embracing life. That's where my joy is. And then the other cool stuff, the vacations or the car or the this or the that, are still very enjoyable, but that is not my definition of success. So take it from me, someone who thought that was the answer for 30 years, only to find out it's still nice to have that stuff, but it's really not what it's all about. My definition of success now is, do I have the downtime to be able to, sit on the couch and snuggle with my hubby and watch a good movie? Do I have the energy to take really good care of myself? Do I have the time to connect, with my mom or with my stepkids or with whoever? Really identifying what brings my heart joy and making sure that I live a balanced life, that success allows that. It doesn't, for me, mean that I have to work a 90-hour work week and hit certain zeros in the bank. So with that, I'd love to take a pause. And Yolanda, thank you for weighing in on that resonating for you. I'm not proud that it took me 30 years, but if we can save anybody time. And again, I do think generations that are younger entering the workforce get this way better than I do. My stepchildren are making very different decisions on work-life balance and career paths and whatnot. As an entrepreneur versus both of my stepkids are working within corporations so they can set a work-life balance boundary. As an entrepreneur, especially a very type A one, I have to shut it down. I have to disconnect. You may not hear from me until Monday morning. I have to go for a walk. I have to reconnect with nature. I started reading, books again. I started doing a puzzle this weekend. What are things that are going to fuel my joy, not just let me, work on my computer till 10 p.m. and then wake up at 5 a.m. and hop back on it. It's that is no longer my definition of success. It's a challenge as an entrepreneur, I think. So with that, looking back at what you wrote down for your definition of success, are those still your PowerPoints for success, or is there anything that maybe you're going to contemplate tweaking? I'd love to hear from you if anything shifted for you.
Please feel free to unmute, or if you're more comfortable, you can write a message in the chat. But I know Kristen is anxious to answer all your questions, so don't be afraid to speak up.
Well, I think for me, what's tough is I have a business with my husband, and it's more clearly about him than it is about me. And so I'm finding the challenge of, where do I find my space and my voice to clearly be passionate when I'm passionate about us doing this cybersecurity thing, but I'm also passionate about other things. And so there's where I have the quandary is bringing my space, who I am, into the mix and making a difference as opposed to just supporting my husband?
I wish you could see the goosebumps I have. That is such a great question, and it will help all of us. So thank you for bringing that into this space. So I have a tagline for my company, and I didn't understand it when it happened, but I just knew it was right. And it's called Find It Within Yourself. So you understanding your role in alignment with your passions within a business that's heavy on, husbandish, where you're going to find that clarity is actually in the quiet introspection. It's not going to be from him. It's not going to be from feedback from others, right? It's going to be really getting present and comfortable and disconnecting and listening to your heart, and how is your heart guiding you? And again, as a solopreneur, an entrepreneur, a startup, an innovator, guys, it takes a lot of courage to sit in the present moment and not do, when success to us usually means doing, right? It's actually the undoing. It's the sitting in the now, getting in touch with what is not my ego saying, not what is my head saying, what is my spreadsheet saying, what is society saying. It's really turning within in the quiet and listening to your heart. And then when you start getting that inner knowing, then you can bring it into community, into your husband, and share it in a very surreal, calm way and say, I've really gotten in touch with my passion within this business and how I want to show up in this business. What are your thoughts? Instead of getting frustrated and like, I'm not showing up, I don't have the opportunity. I find when I do that more, because I'm a solopreneur, so I don't have that at work. But when I do that at home, I have to tell you what happens. 99% of the time, my husband goes, yeah, I'm so glad you finally realized that. Right. And then when there's the occasion where he's not in alignment, that's okay too. Right. But then I've shared it in a loving way. And then, there's going to be a decision to make. Am I in the right space? Is this where I should be right now? But you're never going to find your answer in your ego or outside of yourself. That's why we titled this, What Does Success Mean Like for You? Find your why. Look within. And the only way to get that inner knowing is to sit in the quiet and listen to your heart. Get out of your head. I don't know if that resonated, but you sure inspired me.
It does. It really does.
Oh, wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing that. Did anyone else want to share or have a question about success and finding your why? Then I'd love to take, we've got a few more minutes together. I'd love to dive another level deeper then into the why. And I touched on this a smidge, but I really, as an entrepreneur and an innovator, when we look at successful non-traditional businesses, we're entrepreneurs, we're innovators, right? We're not trying to reproduce what already is. We're trying to offer to the world our unique perspective, our unique problem we're trying to solve, our unique experience that we are like, hey, this is how we could do it different. Being comfortable in that difference, knowing your why. It's, for me, it was really hard because my explanation of health and well-being was very different from 99.9% of people that I was in community with. And it wasn't fun to be the only one thinking this way, right? So it took quite a bit of a workout for me to get comfortable in knowing me, knowing my why, being comfortable articulating my why, not projecting and insisting my why on others. I think this is very important in success. Who's attracted to someone that's just really almost snottily passionate about their why, right? My communication of my why was a very calm, surreal lighthouse approach. And what happened was, as I shifted into being comfortable with who I am, knowing my why, being able to express it calmly, kindly, Yolanda, just like I said, once you get it, then you share it, and then you just put it out there, and that's the end. It's very concise. It's very lovely. I started attracting people, both that I knew and people I have no idea who they are, who are like, oh my gosh, yes, Yes, exactly. Thank you. I've been looking for you. Can I walk this with you? And then they tell two friends and they tell two friends. So my model of success is I love me. I believe in me. I share my me, unattached to outcome. I'm attracting people who are attracted to the message. I'm loving on them from this calm place of wholeness. They're telling two friends, they're telling two friends. And now it's amazing, the snowball effect and the opportunities that come in that I didn't go apply for or I didn't market for. I literally, because I'm comfortable with my why and who I am and why I am, and I've gotten better at articulating it in a loving way, unattached to outcome, I'm attracting success that I never in a million years would have even dared to dream, never mind put on a spreadsheet. So as you're defining your success and you're getting to know your why, that was just really cool, is being comfortable. I made that mistake when I was in healthcare. I was such a zealot and I was so angry and so passionate because I was like, hi, everyone, this really isn't working. We're spending more money. We're having worse outcomes. Obesity's up, chronic disease is up. We're doing it wrong. Why aren't we helping people be well before they get sick? Let's be preventative. And I was really angry. And I was not resonating, even with the people that wanted to listen, because I was showing up angry. And now that I understand who I am and what I believe in and what my offering is, and I'm clearly articulating it, I'm having the opposite effect. And success is, again, getting phone calls from people. I just spent 3 weeks in New England connecting with global thought leaders when it comes to the mind-body connection. And I promise you, I wasn't linked in with them, 2 months ago. So I started attracting my success that's way more elevated than I ever imagined. So with that, I want to just thank you for the opportunity. This is my alma mater. UConn is my undergrad degree. And I really, really was so excited to reconnect. And I'm here to help support in any way. You can always stay in touch with me. My website is my name, KristenCollins.com. And from there, you can link in with me, send me an email. I put out a weekly e-newsletter with ideas like this of really just getting comfortable in your own skin and knowing your why and how to show up in this crazy world, not being threatened by being different. And I think if we've learned anything through COVID, it's that understanding of, we are all different. We're supposed to all be different, and we're a beautiful tapestry. And this polarization is not going to work anymore. So I want to support you as you step into your work, your true purpose work, to be comfortable with the fact that you might look different from other, but it's why you're here. So stay in touch. I'd love to help you.
Thank you so much, Kristen. You have quite a few positive comments in the chat. So that just shows how much you resonated with each and every one of us. And I appreciate the time you took to come and talk with us. And I have now met with Kristen 3 times. So when she says she's willing to reach out and talk to all of you at any point, she means it. So don't be afraid to contact her, and trust me, she will definitely make a positive impact on you, as she has to so many of our program participants already. And yes, Anita, this is on a recording. If you reach out to me via email, I can share the recording with you or anyone else who is interested. Before we close out tonight, I would like to just show our next event, Timely Topics, is actually 1 month from today. How to Ruin Your Life in Business, a magical approach to entrepreneurship with Delania Davis, who is also a UConn alum. Okay, so I hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day, and thank you again, Kristen.
Pleasure to meet you all. Go get them and go Huskies.
Thank you.
Thank you. Stay in touch. Bye. Thank you.
Of course, thank you.